What's going on, people? This is Andrew. Ask me about my podcast. Back with another episode. I got my boy right here. This is Will Schneider.
What's going on, everybody?
Schneider and we've been friends since the Regis days.
The Regis days.
When I was trying to think back, when did we meet?
I think we got to blame it on our buddy Ryan Parkhouse.
That's what I was gonna say too. Rugby parties.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I played rugby with our buddy Ryan. You were a roommate. You went to, was it Montana State for a little while?
Yeah, I was Montana State, Bozeman, Montana freshman year. Transferred over to Regis, and then my roommate freshman year was actually Steve.
Okay, this makes a whole ton of sense now. I'm just realizing after like 10 plus years of friendship, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's crazy the random stuff that comes out of this.
I know, right? Yeah, it's kind of funny. We've been in a bunch of weddings together, like all kinds of things. Being your real estate agent.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, we've been quite a journey.
Yeah.
We were just at Parkhouse's wedding out in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it was a good old time. Good old time for sure.
That was like mini back to the Regis days. I think 5 days straight of just too much alcohol consumption and just like too much fun at pools and all that kind of stuff.
Reminiscing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that means at this point.
For sure, man.
So the one reason I wanted to bring Will on, like he said, he's my real estate agent here in Denver. Showed me my place in Wash Park, so super stoked about that. We've been kind of like going through a crazy time with the real estate market, especially here in Denver.
Yeah.
So like, why don't you kind of like, well, actually first introduce yourself, tell as much as about your background that you want to say, drop your social media if you want to. We'll just kind of start there and then dive right in.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Will Schneider. I grew up in Westchester, New York, right above New York City. Came out here kind of on a whim. Just the rugby coach called me a couple times, and I was like, all right, we'll see what Denver's about. Liked it so much that I stayed and worked for Keller Williams. Been doing that for about 6 years now. Like you said, sold Andrew his house or helped Andrew find his place. Yep. And liked it so much that I decided to move a couple blocks away from do the same thing myself. Yeah.
Continue this crazy whatever we got going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just kicking it for New Year's, which this is probably going to come out next Friday, so a week or two ago. But yeah, I mean, I guess with that being said, what has been going on here as far as like real estate goes? Obviously, it's been insane. Prices only go up or seem to only go up. Market or inventory seems to only go down. Like what? Like 2 cents of what's going on here.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it's fooled quite a few people, including me. So when this first started, I thought this was going to be a death sentence. Like I didn't know if we were going to be allowed to work, but we were one of the few professions that was considered essential. So we got to sort of practice. In the beginning, it was an absolute shit show. Just not being allowed to like physically set foot on a property because the liability was so high and the restrictions were so severe. So we're doing virtual tours of houses and things like that, calling and asking sellers to FaceTime us through it and have people actually make a decision like on that basis, which was pretty rough. But then things got a little bit better, and I think the state kind of realized that we need a little bit more wiggle room because that is such an important thing. Mm-hmm. But I myself thought this was going to totally turn into a buyer's market. I thought it was going to be an absolute tanking. But sort of like around like midsummer, kind of realized that like we sort of landed on our feet, and our market actually totally skyrocketed because with the sort of the standard of like the Zoom lifestyle, people
like remote working, like you could be you could live up in Vail, or you could live down here and you could work out in New York or like wherever you wanted to live, pretty much.
Totally. And so I've got a ton of friends that live in New York City who decided like, okay, if that's all is required of me is that I sign in by a certain time and I don't miss any of my calls, I'm somewhere with Wi-Fi, and I can be anywhere in the country. Yeah. So I've got friends from like that decided to just pick up, drive across the country, turn it into like a 2-week trip. They'd be staying in like Yosemite or like the Tetons in Wyoming, and then they just be on their Zoom calls and whatever, like in their pajamas, making business run as usual.
You can make your virtual background whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. And so they were just started to realize, they're like, oh my God, like Colorado, Wyoming, like the West is just beautiful. And well, we had a pretty good thing going, but now it looks like
secret might be out at this point.
I mean, good for me, but unfortunately, I mean, it's everybody's starting to realize how high the quality of life is out here. You know, better prices than places like San Francisco, New York City, Boston, and there's a mass exodus kind of coming our way, and so our market has been absolutely thriving. Yeah.
It's insane. I think like when you look at kind of like the big picture of it all, I think yeah, mainly like I mean, you probably know better than me, but most people coming from California are moving east. Most people from Texas are coming up north. New York's coming out. Like where are most people coming from, or is it just kind of like wherever?
So the whole West Coast, just
Yeah,
because like their lifestyles have been a bit more, I guess, infringed upon that,
sure.
as a result, of the pandemic and all of just the fun things 2020's had to offer for us.
Yeah, right.
So I would say, yeah, California, Washington, Oregon, ton from uh, Texas as far as just because our economy is actually, like people don't really know, but it's very healthcare based, and
Yeah.
so there's a ton of like nursing schools down in Texas that sort of transferred a bunch of people up here with a bunch of hospitals opening, a
Even
lot of
like
tech.
yeah, oil and gas too is
Only,
huge
oh
too.
yeah,
Like I feel like that's one thing that not a lot of people think about Colorado is like a mining city.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we were kind of born on mining originally, but for the past 10 years or whatever, BP just put in a huge office downtown. Like I feel like that's another big thing popping off.
Totally, yeah. I mean, we like mining so much, we named a sports team after it. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that I mean, there's quite a few industries, and like we were actually so diversified that we landed really softly with this whole thing. Like as far as the restaurant industry got disrupted and things
Yeah,
like that, but like we have so much tech here. Only 4% of our population had any issues with their mortgages. It was
really.
yeah. I was
What would be like
very surprised.
nationwide? What would be like a national average of that?
I think I
Not
think
putting you on the spot to sling numbers, but like,
I think it was supposed to be like 13. The real problem was with renters, usually typically,
okay,
and that's more like an indication just because people who have mortgages are a bit more financially sturdy,
sure,
just as a generality.
yeah,
But the renting side, like oh my god, it's probably like 25% or something. Like it's
that's
like a
crazy.
yeah, like a or it's gonna be a problem, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, so like, what? I guess what's next when that comes? Like here in Colorado, we probably still have a ton of people renting as opposed to buying, or is that not the case? Or are you seeing a flip, or like is it still pretty like demographic oriented, or what's your divide there?
I'd say that sort of the divide that I'm noticing right now. I mean, is we have a huge buyer pool just because interest rates got lowered so much as a result of this. Just
Yeah,
that a ton of people who are just sort of like right on the cusp of being able to afford a house with interest rates below 3%. That puts a
yeah,
lot of people in the game, and so they got pretty excited about it. And they were like, if ever there was a time, it's gonna be now. And so it seems like everybody and their mother is at least trying to buy and take advantage of it, but we just don't really have the inventory at the moment. Like so,
hmm,
like there's sort of like a fine line between people who like would buy if they found the right house and the people who just like can't afford it because when there's a house that hits the market that's got all the practical things that people like,
yeah.
it's quite common to see 10 plus offers in under 24 hours.
That's crazy. Are
Yeah.
people still super picky? Like, what are you seeing when it comes? Are most people trying to buy a condo? Or most people trying to buy a single family land? I know you're big into land. Like, what are people's goals right now, or like expectations?
Right now, I mean, before this all started,
Yeah,
it was like anything you can get your hands on, condo, house, whatever. I just want to be in a certain area.
sure.
Now there's a much bigger focus on getting a house, just because people consider lifestyle. They're like, okay, if I'm going to be stuck inside for an indefinite
Yeah, good
amount of
point.
time, they're like, what do I want that space to look like? Because that is going to be my entire world. And so
Yeah,
people are deciding like, all right, if I can get it way cheaper, and I can't enjoy like bars and restaurants and whatever, I'll go 40 miles outside of town, pay, half the price that I would for, a comparable house, like, within the city limits,
sure.
and, get twice the space, get like some people, like the average, like can build that is kind of desirable. Would it
Yeah,
used to be like a 3 bed, 2 bath. People are now looking for like 6 bed, 4 baths. They want like, say it's like a family, for example,
yeah.
mom and dad got their master and they say they got 2 kids, get one of those kids each room. Then they
Hmm.
want mom, dad each want an office want
Yeah.
a separate bathroom, and then they want a learning space for the kids
That's
because
right. Yeah,
just
you
sort of
kind of forgot about that.
totally, yeah, they've got to move all of life inside, and so like housing becomes way more important, so people take it way more seriously, and so people are a little less attracted to condos right now,
Yeah.
especially within the downtown market. It's turning into a little bit of a buyer's market temporarily. I mean,
Hmm.
just because I think that'll go away the moment that the vaccine comes into play, and then
Sure.
we can sort of get back to, I don't know, whatever we
Yeah, whatever
consider
normal
normal.
is that. Yeah, at that
Yeah,
point.
for real. And then people can start to actually like go out and enjoy those things again. Like that'll sort
Yeah.
of pick up again. But now like um single family homes are definitely like the most desirable, but it's kind of spread out just because of the sort of the pricing quality. It's kind of like like a little bit of a donut around the city. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
That's super interesting, I guess, because feel like before all this kind of started, like downtown was super popping. Like you had the development of like the Rhino District, tons of
Oh
places
yeah,
being thrown in there. Even like downtown around the arenas. You have
definitely.
that new McCormick Square by Coors Field. Is it
Yes.
McCormick Square?
Or
No, what is it called?
I thought that, well, you sold me, and I'm on it.
Just say it confidently
Yeah.
and it works. Yeah,
Mm.
we're gonna go with McCormick Square.
I'll
Could be
trust you. I'll have been there before, I think.
yeah, could be totally wrong.
Oh, sorry. Union Station? Like, was that what
No,
you were shooting
remember
for?
they've just built like all that brand new stuff right next to Coors Field.
Seems like that happens in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So if you're, I'll put it in Will's terms. You're walking out of the back door of View House.
I'm bad with directions as a realtor, so this is helpful.
This is good.
Yeah.
Back door of View House, and you look to the left. Remember the old parking lot of where the St. Patrick's Day parties were?
I do.
What is that called now? Like where Fido's was?
Oh, okay. The Giant Fido's parking lot.
Yeah.
Alas, I actually don't know the name
Yeah.
of that. Ground Zero.
Not throwing you under the bus here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even like the middle of the developing of all that has been insane. And I think I was looking at places there, and they were like 600 square feet for like $1.2 million or something.
Oh my God.
Which it's probably not selling right now, obviously, but
No, definitely not as much.
yeah,
I know we've got a couple friends downtown that live in very expensive condos that are having a difficult time with the transition of selling anonymously, of course.
Yeah, no names.
Yeah, no names, but some of them who were originally making the absolute right decision because these hypothetical anonymous people had ballin' places.
Yeah, real sick in great locations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I've sort of, as we kind of discussed that sort of the COVID model, want a bit more space, want a backyard and whatever. Maybe they got a dog, maybe they have a kid, who knows?
Yeah.
Like
They might not know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. And they're having a real time with the transition, with the sale of it, just because a lot of people don't want to sort of feel confined, and they don't really know, like, especially when it comes to things like HOAs, not the sexiest topic.
Yeah.
I know you're super happy with yours, and you really like your HOA.
Yeah, they're great. Every
very
time I have an
reliable.
issue, it gets solved in a 24 to 36 day period.
Yeah.
They've overcharged me on repairs that they fell short on. And they're super easy to work with. Every time there's an issue, they don't answer their phone. So yeah, it's been great. But I don't think, name one person that has said like my HOA is sick.
Her name starts with a K. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes. But where were we?
Just talking, I guess we were just talking about like moving. You had a huge urbanization move, and now people kind of moving away from that.
Yes. Oh yeah. So we're seeing kind of a mass exodus from the coasts. Any place that's really, really expensive. Also Chicago, just like the major cities like that. They're all coming to places like Nashville, Denver in particular, where we've got quite the, it almost seems just, it's like a beautiful like refugee crisis. Like everybody's coming here and they're like, oh my God, houses are cheaper than we ever imagined.
Yeah.
Mountains and weed's legal. This is wonderful.
Yeah, we'll take this place.
Yeah.
That's what I was actually reading earlier today, is that a lot of people from out of state that were making a lot of money, like you were saying, like New York's, Chicago's, just for cost of living, they had to make more money.
Yeah.
Are coming here and seeing the prices so low, but still making the same amount of income, and like how that's driving out a lot of what locals, lived here.
Yeah.
like almost artificially raising the price of what a house should be where
Totally.
it should be.
Yeah, and that's kind of the unfortunate part is
Yeah.
because like I remember like my first year in real estate was 2015, and a 3-bed 2-bath like single family house that would be back then would be like 300,000, and like
Yeah.
you get fair amount of competition over that, but like that's a that's a good starter home.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Now like that's a blown out trap house, like it
Yeah,
barely
you're gutting
exists.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like if it's 300,000 and it had it's more than like a 1 bed, and then
Mhm.
there's some kind of complication implied.
Right.
um but now like that very same house, 550, but just over the course of those years, just like with appreciation but also just ruthless competition. Like
Yeah.
even if the same place was listed at, for example, let's call it a flat 500 to make it
Sure.
easy. Just the bidding wars and like the lack of inventory that we have will take that up to sometimes a $50,000 price war.
That's insane.
Yeah, and some people coming from places like California where they've just sold their place, and they've got like all cash. It makes it very difficult to compete, and people who who've been living here their entire lives are only working on a Colorado budget, and
Yeah.
then when they just get drowned out by these big city buyers, there really is it's an unfortunate side to it.
Right.
Economics can be a little bit brutal, but Colorado's just being Colorado now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just got to make yours now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I feel for it, and coincident, I'm as an out-of-stater,
Yeah.
we both contributed toward it,
Yeah, I
toward
was
it in our
gonna
own
say,
way. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
10 years ago when we first got here.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing.
Exactly.
So what would be, I guess we can kind of get close to wrapping this up. What would be like someone coming in from out of town, someone local, someone whatever, looking for, let's just start with like a condo to buy. Like where's the most value in the city, if that even exists? Is it, closer to where we are in Wash Park? Is it more downtown right now? Like you were saying, there's kind of a pop going on in the bubble. Like where would you be able to find like the best value for a condo?
I would say one area that I mean, this is kind of a bold statement.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people who might righteously call me out and say it's bullshit, but an area that I've found to be historically recession proof
Yeah.
is Cherry Creek, Wash Park
Right.
area. Just areas that have just continued to appreciate, that have like always sort of maintained a certain quality of lifestyle.
Right.
Values continuously gone up, even under like really messy circumstances like the 2008 recession.
We're landlocked too. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
the park on one side, you have the, Cherry Creek facility of the malls, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the golf course on the other side.
Yeah.
So like we're like almost landlocked, making it ideal.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's like a little oasis, of
true.
people who just like through geographic convenience. You got like, I mean, people from out of state won't know what this is, but there's a couple crucial highways you're gonna want to know about.
Yeah.
I-70, I-25, and so since we've got a great intersection to kind of get anywhere.
Especially out to the airport. Like for me, living down here, like if I-70 is backed up north, like you just go, what is it, 225 or go 25 to 225 to whatever.
Yeah, or Alameda,
Yeah.
225, and then out to Pena and
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, super convenient, and so a lot of people are out of state commuters. I know you were traveling every other day when
Yeah,
you were
I
allowed to
was.
work like a normal person.
Yeah. That's long gone at this point.
Yes, but yeah, it made it a really practical decision.
Sure.
And, I'd say like for condo owners at least, like when that starts to be a little bit more popular again, yeah, this is an area to absolutely recommend. Very quiet, and it's kind of very family oriented, but there's still a lot of like fun things to do, bars, restaurants, all that type of thing around here. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
favorite thing, you can get out to the airport in 45 minutes. You can get to Pepsi Center in 15. You can get to the Bronco Stadium in another 15. Like, we're fairly in the middle of everything, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah, big fan.
What about, so let's just keep going. Single family, what's the best value? Where am I going?
Best value. So this is kind of a sort of a two-pronged answer.
Mhm.
I would say like an area like bottomless budget.
Pick whatever, like, let's just say 500. But let's go back to your 500 example. If I had 500K, where am I buying not Colorado, right? Not existing.
Well, you're gonna there's gonna be some sweat equity involved for sure. I would pick Um, yeah, it's a toss up.
I mean,
I
I
would
guess like
say.
under $1 million. If you had under $1 million to spend,
Oh, under a million would definitely open it up quite a lot. But I would say
yeah,
like for 500,000 is a good. That's a good question. That's a good challenge.
yeah,
I would say, um, my favorite neighborhood would be for a single family home. I would say probably like Rhino or like the Cole neighborhood. Get
Cole. I would. That's what I was thinking. Cole would be a
yes,
good spot.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, because there's some places in there, it's like you're gonna have to fix a few things. You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a house from like the 1800s. It's gonna have weird plumbing or some kind of
yeah,
electric that you're gonna have to deal with. But like, you're gonna be when the market comes back and you're allowed to go out and do all the fun things that you like.
yeah.
It's it, it's gonna be an absolute win for you. And the other one, I would say, it's kind of quiet, but like University Hills, Virginia Village, like a little
Oh,
further
fair
south of
enough.
here.
Yeah,
It's a close enough drive to anything, but just like excellent equity to be found there. Like,
that's like DU, right?
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, just east of it.
Okay.
And so it's houses are kind of like built in the 50s over there,
Mhm.
but and like would require like a little bit of work, but you get a ton of space and you'll get a fat backyard. So
Right.
like if you got like kids or I assume dogs.
Yeah.
Seems like every millennial has a dog that
Yeah.
they
Everybody that has a dog
yeah,
out here.
yeah. That like I would say like that's the move. And like it'll by the time all of San Francisco gets here, they'll be
True.
fighting for it. So buy it up all you can.
And then they'll go up to $1 million. Then you
Yeah,
can flip it, and you're well on your way.
exactly. And if you get up to a million, I mean, Cherry Creek. I'm sorry, I'm leaning too far into Cherry
Well,
Creek
I
and
think
stuff like
like
that.
yeah, and you and I have
Yeah.
lived here for the past handful of years.
Hmm.
So for us, like, I mean, I think this is a great area. You can get to the park. I already said downtown super easy, airport super easy, mountains are super easy. Jump on 6. You're well on your
Absolutely.
way.
But we are city boys by nature.
Yeah,
But
fair.
I'd say like to the listeners who have the luxury of $1 million budget, um, go to Golden, go to Morrison,
Oh,
get
good
an
point.
absolute palace. If you're a mountain person, $1 million house is still $1 million house, and in Colorado you'd be well you'd be amazed with what that gets you. If you're from California, that's not like really an impressive number.
Yeah, right. That's kind
Yeah,
of what I was thinking.
yeah,
I have a buddy that lives up in Evergreen, and it's sick. Like you walk out of his back patio, and it's just views, endless views of the mountains.
yeah.
And
So
but still, you can still get downtown if you have a job when it comes back in under 45 minutes.
oh, totally. Also, speaking of Evergreen, I think you shout out my boy from high school,
Yes.
buddy Tommy, sort of Four Noses Brewery. It's a fantastic
Go to
brew.
that camera.
Exactly.
Four
Four
noses.
Noses, delicious shit. He's got a whole variety, and he's very creative with it. Started it on a whim. Did not ask me for this promotion. Might even be mad at me for this promotion. Who knows? But yeah, it's fantastic stuff. And so like, that's kind of the nice thing about Colorado is they give you like a ton of freedom as as far
Yeah.
as like like the way you want to run your business before all this.
Yeah,
I'll say that
let's be
before.
careful.
Yes.
Yeah, put a
Yeah,
little
exactly.
asterisk before
Exactly.
this crazy
Yeah.
ass year or year and a half.
Yeah, they come out. If you come out here with sort of the idea of wanting, that was kind of like what made Colorado originally attractive. Is like if you want to start a business and just run it, like they don't ask a ton of questions. Legalize
Yeah.
weed. There's a lot of overnight millionaires that that came up in like 2012 through 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's the craziest part is we have everything from like hemp to weed to oil and gas.
Yeah.
And there's like really no gap in between any of them.
Yeah, and like like clothing designers come out
Yeah, true.
here.
Got a bunch
my
of
God.
random ass DJs out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a million and one reasons to come to Colorado. Right now it's still, some people don't think it's cheap. If you're from St. Louis or something, you'll be mad about the prices.
Yeah.
But if you're from California or basically the whole East West Coast,
Yeah.
it's still a very enticing place to be. But as an entrepreneur, I would say like that this is like the perfect start from scratch state.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I think like opportunities, you have tons of opportunities, you have tons of people, and I mean your audience varies tremendously,
Yeah.
and in not a far area, like especially since everything's been kind of like you said, the donut of downtown is like kind of starting to pop
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
pop off, I guess I should say, getting super popular.
Yeah, and that's kind of funny. I was just talking with a buddy of mine this morning, and We're talking about kind of well, I was a history major in college and sort of like the cyclical nature of things.
Yeah.
And so like in 1918 they had, the pandemic that we all keep citing, and um after that was over, like the roaring 20s, everybody wanted to rush out and party, and everyone got was spending crazy money, and of course that led to the Great Recession that kind of fucked us in the long run, but
Yeah.
whatever. But for 10 years we were having a blast. And so um, I'm I'm hearing plenty of economic. There are two economists in my house, and so I'll cite them. Like they've been kind of mentioning that like 2022 might be the year that where people just like through a combination of government grants and whatever, like a little bit of extra spending, like we might have the opportunity to sort of build businesses back up with a little bit of help from Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Obviously it'll be a fun run, and then the economy will crash in like another 10 years, and then we'll
Right.
have to bite the bullet on that. But people are going to have a whole bunch of fun in 22 once the
Yeah.
vaccine is dispersed, and I think we're all going to go crazy, and life's going to be super fun. So I want to spread a little bit of optimism. Just one man's theory.
Yeah. I mean, if it's been anything like the past few years, I mean, I can't say without getting super down the road, but like the environment for new business has been insane.
Oh
And
yeah.
here in Colorado too is no different. I mean, you've had, crazy urbanization. You had Rhino come off the map, restaurants, breweries, clothing stores, knife stores, very specific,
Yeah.
hobby stores come up and just like absolutely crush it and create like a new environment.
And let's talk about Rhino for a second, actually, like as a little like microcosm. Like in
Yeah.
2018, I would say like specifically, that was like our like Haight Ashbury. It was like the most interesting place ever. I remember just going there and started like spending some time there, going to parties and bars, trying new
Yeah.
restaurants and whatever. And just on the Larimer Strip there, it was like an adult Candyland. Like it was just like weed shop, coffee shop, bar, like
Yeah.
we're like crazy art gallery,
crazy ass restaurants. Yeah.
and like people were just always doing fun things. Like the energy was fantastic over there,
Yeah.
and like everybody was having fun. The economy was great. Businesses were all over the place. Like
Right.
everybody was doing super well. Like as far as like starting their own individual like smaller businesses and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It was the creative like heartbeat of the city. And now, I mean, it's temporarily it kind of looks like
It's like almost the complete opposite.
yeah, I mean, without ragging on Detroit, it kind of looks like Detroit.
Yeah.
Everything's boarded up, and I mean, when you sort of kill that creativity,
Yeah.
then it makes it very difficult to work around. But like when it comes back, like that's, I would say, like Rhino, like as it blew up, and I think it's definitely got to come back in it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But like those are the parts like the inner city that I would say like are super attractive.
Sure.
So like if you're a condo person or townhome person, like that's a neighborhood absolutely to check out. Like don't write it off. Right now you won't see it with its game face on.
Yeah.
But like yeah, but when it does come back, like absolutely worth getting a place there. I would like honestly, if I had a choice, really right now, I would absolutely live there for like a couple of years.
Yeah, I always keep my eye on that neighborhood because I think it's super interesting. Like you said, like if for people from Miami, it's our Windward Walls. For people from New York, it's almost like our Hell's Kitchen. For people from LA, it's almost like our, I don't know the best way to put it in LA terms. I'm trying to think of what. Maybe
Inglewood.
like,
I'm not an LA person.
yeah, Westwood maybe. I mean, because it's so diverse, but yet, like, it doesn't matter where you are or who you are, how much you make, where you come from. Like, you're going to that neighborhood to either enjoy art, enjoy a restaurant experience, enjoy a joint and a coffee. Like, I think that's one place in all of Denver that most of those people mingle,
Absolutely, like
which is super cool.
yeah. If you've got an original idea and you go to Rhino, someone will entertain that conversation, and it will turn into a fruitful day for you for sure. Yeah,
I guess here's like a way to show how popping it is now. There's a Patagonia, there's a Burton, there's a Red Bull, there's a what's the other brand? There's one other major brand that considers themselves like a fringe, fringe on corporate versus independent, that have moved into those neighborhoods to absorb and have taken in, a lot of the culture that area has created.
That's a great question. I mean, they have so many that there's such a multitude of options.
Yeah,
all I know is that
exactly.
there are places there where you can, I don't know, you buy $600 ugly sneakers. Like that's how cool that neighborhood is.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up for now. We're doing pretty good. 30 minutes in.
Mm.
Shout out whatever you want to shout out. Business. If you have a rant on your business, feel free to go through that. Where people can get a hold of you if you want to. Social media, consulting. What do you do? Maybe just kind of run through some of your, options of what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, it's pretty simple. I would say for business, go through my Facebook or my Instagram. My handle's just like, if you just Will Schneider for Facebook, and also Will Schneider for Instagram. Pretty simple, easy to find.
way to keep it simple.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I don't have a business page on the Instagram side. So if you just look it up,
we'll get there. I'll help you with that.
Yeah. Word. Yeah. That's my marketing guy. Plug to Mr. Dornish. Yeah. Always been my marketing guy for sure. Also, Four Noses, fantastic beverage if you're in the mood. One thing I would say that like makes me different is like I like to work for my friends specifically. I was asked the other day, like, would you prefer to do like high volume properties, like, something like $1 million plus, or would you do those like a couple times a year, or would you rather do like, a lot of like lower level market prices, like several like $400,000 places a year? And my answer is actually just like, I don't really care what the price is. I would prefer to work for my friends. I want the transaction to be fun, enjoyable. And the part that like I really like about it, I think makes me a bit different as a realtor, is I like to see my friends succeed.
Yeah.
I like to put all my friends on, like, any chance that I get to sort of leverage them. Like that's what does it for me. Like the
totally.
paycheck or whatever is kind of whatever. I like to be just involved in the process. I like to see them succeed and do big things, and just kind of know that you sort of work within your community. Like my first year in real estate, like I remember like I barely made a dime. And then so it took like a little while for people to be like, okay, man, like now you know what you're doing. I'll give you a shot. And so like every time someone would give me an opportunity, that meant so much to me. So like that's kind of what my attitude is like, when people don't know what they're doing, I love to be able to look at them with confidence and say like, I do know what I'm doing. I can help you. And if this is it's a very serious process that you might not understand right now, let me help like humanize it for you. Let me put it into basic terms and promote it. And like, and I care about the way it goes. And like, that goes also like after the transaction is over, like, our buddy Andrew, and his fiance Hillary kind of like gave me the nickname like Uncle Will. Like, it's just like, yeah, so I'm gonna be around. Like once I sell you the house, like it's not over. Like, I'm curious, like how it went. Do you like your neighbors? Like what's the whole process like? Where you want to go next? Like I'm gonna be a relevant presence. Like that's kind of the attitude like that I bring to it, and that's sort of my individual brand. But I mean, come find out for yourself. That's mostly my thing.
Yeah, totally. Super encouraged. Make sure you guys hit up Will Schneider. Really appreciate him jumping on today. Had a ton of fun with this. Make sure you give him a follow on Instagram, main channel.
Yeah, I would say that's the
where
main
your videos come from and stuff like that.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, sick. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you leave 5 stars, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And looking forward to next time. Peace.
All right. Thanks, guys.